In this video, I'm going to show you how to get to and change the spark plugs on this jet ski. This is actually my second time taking these out. The reason I changed them the first time is that we got water inside the head there. We rolled this jet ski upside down and it got water all in there, got water in the oil. So I'm going to be showing you, it's the same process if you're just wanting to change them, or if you actually get water in the engine, this is the steps you'll take. And I recorded this a while back, and it says, when I was researching this, it says if there is water that gets inside there, that be sure and do it immediately. If you don't get that water out, it's going to cause a lot of corrosion problems. So this was the next day, and I'm doing this, or I've already done it, and this is my second time because it's still, I think I got some water in the oil, and I'm going to check it again. But anyway, you want to first loosen. There's 10 millimeter bolts on top of those spark plug boots. You want to take those out. I've got one missing. I'm going to have to get another one back there. And then you pull those boots out that connects to the spark plug. And once you take those out, you can get you a spark plug socket and loosen all these up. And just do that to all four. And then what I'll do a lot of times is just get them loose, and then I'll get a hose that fits them to take them the rest of the way out. But yeah, anyway, we was out jet skiing and having some problems with this, and flipped it over and flipped it back. And that's another thing I want to mention. There's a decal on the back of these that I didn't know about, but there's only one way you can flip them. So be sure if you do flip this upside down in the water that you look at that decal, and it will tell you which way to flip it. And that may have been what we done, is we flipped it the wrong way, got water in the air box, and just filled that whole engine compartment, the inside the engine, and the oil full of water, which made a mess. I mean, the oil looks just like milk. And what it'll do is those cylinders, the top of those cylinders will actually fill up with water, and it'll get locked. So it's kind of like hydro locked. And you go to start it, and it'll just click one time, and your whole engine is just locked up. And that could be what the problem is. It's got water on top of the pistons locking it. So if you had that problem, that might be what you check. You just pull your spark plugs out, and like I said, I just use a hose to catch the end of it and pull them out. Now again, I'll mention, if you think this may be the problem of what happened, and if you look inside there and that whole engine compartment's full of water, chances are this did happen. I mean, it got inside the air box and sucked up into the motor, and gets into the oil and everything else. But once you got them all out, you want to pull the trigger all the way. It says to make sure that the throttle is fully open, and then you start it. I'm going to act like you're going to start it. You just push the start button, and it allows your pistons to go up and down and pushes this water out. Now this time there wasn't much in there. I thought I was going to have more in this, but it did have just a little bit of a mist, and you want to make sure all that's gone. The first time I went through this process, when I changed the spark plugs, I mean, it looked like a geyser coming out of those cylinders. I mean, there was a lot of water in there. But I have got most of it. But whenever you're doing this, you want to do it until all that water is out. And then you can replace the spark plugs if that's what you're doing. I'm not on this time. I did the last time. They say it's very important to put this NICs on it. If you put a spark plug in there and it is in there for a while and it happens to kind of corrode, if that breaks inside of there, that's a big major fix getting that out. So anti-seize just kind of helps keep it from, it's kind of the opposite of Loctite. It kind of helps it keep it from seizing up and corroding inside there. So yeah, you want to put that anti-seize on every thread on the spark plugs. There's 4 on this 4-cylinder. And then put them in. And I use this hose just to put them back in because it's kind of fast and it's easy to line it up. And surprisingly, you can get them pretty tight with those, where you just got to barely tighten them by hand once you have them in with this. So you'll go ahead and do that with all 4. Now I don't know for sure. I can't remember. I looked it up whenever I was doing this the first time to get the gaps right. You'll need to look that up, or ask the parts guy what the proper gap is. But I did gap these the first time, but I don't want to say. I mean, I think I know, but I don't want to say because I'm not 100% sure what it was. But that's easy to find out. Just ask the person where you get your parts from, or you can look it up online. So I'm getting all those 4 in, and I'll put them in, and pretty quick job, pretty fast. And one other thing I'd like to mention is there is a torque spec to these for the spark plugs themselves. I usually just use a socket and snug them up. You don't want to get these too tight. I mean, you want to get them hand tight. If you have no idea of the feel of what good and snug is, you may decide to get a torque wrench and torque these down. I've never really, I know you should, and probably professional mechanics do, you know, torque everything in their spark plugs, but I always just get them good and tight, but not over tight, if that makes any sense. But it's probably the best advice I could give you, or a better option that is to torque those down if you question how tight they should be. My main profession is collision repair and painting, but you know, I am kind of the DIY when it comes to mechanical, and especially jet skis. You know, this is a total new experience to me. And, you know, I think I've mentioned this in other videos. I didn't plan for these to be projects, but I had to spend time this summer working on them. And so since I didn't have time to spend on my other projects, you know, I needed to go ahead and video this so I'd have videos for you. So if I spent all my time on this, didn't have time, I've got a Jeep project I'm going to start on and some other projects. But unfortunately, this took up a lot of my summer. This and my son's truck's breaking down and things that really wasn't the plan. But you know how life is. You know, you can't really plan, and you know, always kind of makes a change on you anyway. So worked on these a lot. Did some work to both my son's pickup and this and that, and never did even get to some of the other projects, which I hope to soon. So, and I know that's the videos y'all like more. Y'all joined and subscribe this channel for mostly auto body and paint, but I do a little bit of mechanical too, as a DIY, just kind of showing you how a backyard mechanic might do it. So now I've got those 10mm bolts that I'm going back in with. I'm going to tighten those down. Now I'm using the impact just to barely snug them down a little bit, and then I'll go back by hand with the ratchet, you know, to make sure that they're tight but not too tight, you know. And that, my friends, is how you change the spark plugs or clear the cylinders of the water if you got the heads full of water. Thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you in the next video.